Tomorrow is their 5th successive home tie, but they're first against a Premiership side. Now, Swindon may not have a rich FA Cup history, but they know a man who has. Paul Allen won 2 FA Cup winners' medals before moving to Southampton. This his first goal there. But unable to get a regular first-team place, the 33-year-old joined Steve McMAHON at Swindon last October on a free transfer. He's looking forward to tomorrow's game, but not just for himself.
We've asserted ourselves very well so far in this division. It'll be nice for all the players in the side to test themselves against the Premiership side to see how far we've come in that short space of time.
Swindon reached the 5th round with a 1-0 victory over Oldham on Monday night. The game seemed to be heading for a goalless draw when, with less than a minute to go, Martin Ling volleyed the winner. Southampton took an early 3-goal lead in their 4th round tie against Crewe the following night. They almost threw it away, though, as Crewe scored twice in the second half. But Southampton remain a Premiership side, 2 divisions above Swindon.
It's a monster match, yeah. But the way we're playing, we're confident, and I think we're in good spirits. And I think taking Hart from the Oldham game, then we're going to give it a good shot.
McMahon's unlikely to play tomorrow following an injury on Monday. But he also has 2 Cup winners' medals, and victory tomorrow would give both him and Allen another chance of playing in a 6th round tie. Let's hope so.
Steve McMAHON played his part in Liverpool's 1989 success.
This is Nicol looking for McMAHON. Good through ball. He got away from Ratcliffe. Oh, and John August in a great position. And Liverpool have scored.
Well, he hasn't hung up his boots yet. Doesn't look a day older, does he? Swindon player-manager Steve McMAHON is with Clive Tilsley at the county ground.
You don't look very different. Can you still run like that?
Occasionally, not too often, mind you.
Not today?
Not today, no.
You've got a tight hamstring, yeah?
That's right, yeah. I overstretched towards the end of the game, probably tiredness. And at my age, you shouldn't be doing stupid things like that.
Let's remind everybody about the last 18 months. You came in November of last season. You couldn't prevent Swindon Town from being relegated. The first time you've experienced anything like that. How badly did that hurt you personally?
Devastating, really. It really was. It was difficult, very difficult times. You know, you've been used to winning things and you've been used to success most of the time. And it hurt me, yeah. But as I say, all credit to the players and everybody at the club that we bounced back and we seem to be getting it right, which is important because there was a lot of things that weren't right at the club.
Would it be fair to say some of your frustration surfaced last season? You were sent off a couple of times. I wonder if you've mellowed a little bit now.
I've got to, I'm afraid, yeah, I think so. I think I've tried to do things too much too quickly. And especially when you're in such a predicament like bottom of the leagues and stuff, you try to change it very drastically. And especially with me playing, I try to influence a game, as I say, too soon, too quick. And I've learned to just, when I'm playing, to be a player. And off it, I've got to try and do the manager's job.
I've known you for a while. You've always been a competitive so-and-so. Are you a plate thrower, a cup thrower in the dressing room?
No, not yet. I haven't done that yet. There's plenty of time for it, mind you, isn't there?
I think you're pretty demanding, though, aren't you?
I just, you know, the standards that you set, you just like people to do the same things, really. And that's been taught to me over the years from the various managers that I've worked with. They set the standards and hopefully the players can do the same thing.
One interesting signing in particular, Paul Allen from Southampton in November. What sort of influence has he had since he came?
Paul has been magnificent, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. I think in training he's been fantastic. He's been a fine example to young players. If they go to training one day, just have a look at Paul Allen training. His enthusiasm, his work rate, everything. You know, he's a pleasure to work with, to be fair. And he's come on and he's done brilliant.
Now, you saw Southampton at Crewe on Tuesday, but you left before the good bit. They were 3-1 up and coasting when you left the ground.
That's right. You know, I thought it was game, set and match, especially after the first 27 minutes or so. But all credit to Crewe. You can't underestimate Crewe, the way they play. And I just heard a big roar and it was 3-2 and I thought, oh my God, it's going to be the last 10, 15 minutes. And it was frantic, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Anything like that again today, we'll be very, very happy. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve McMAHON mellowing, that's a very interesting thought.
The Saints, struggling 6th from bottom of the Premiership, had a real scare at Crewe in midweek. Can Swindon now put the frighteners on them?
There's no shortage of cup know-how at the county ground. Two of their most famous faces boasting 6 FA Cup final appearances between them. The player boss Steve McMahon was twice a winner and once a loser, and the other big-name player has the same cup final record but also enjoys a unique place in the FA Cup record books. Tomorrow he comes up against his last Premiership club. Jackie Levy tracked him down.
The man who lives here is part of FA Cup history, yet when he made it into the history books, he was little more than a boy.
Hello.
Hi, Paul.
Come in.
Thank you. Paul Allen was just 17 when West Ham beat Arsenal at Wembley in 1980. To this day, he remains the youngest player ever to take part in an FA Cup final. 16 years on, he's still got the kit, but can he remember much about that match?
Oh yes, remember it very well. The build-up to the game itself, and obviously the winning goal from Trevor Brooking and being brought down at the ends there by Willie Young.
In this very shirt here?
Yes, this is a shirt that I wore in the game. It's quite small actually and smelling of mothballs, but I wouldn't part with it. It's great memories for me.
Few players make it to an FA Cup final. Paul Allen's among a privileged elite who's made it to 3. With Spurs, he was a runner-up in 1987 and then a winner in 1991. The 4th final would be a dream, but he says these days it's hard for non-Premiership clubs like Swindon to go all the way.
I think there's always going to be upsets along the way, but to actually go the whole course and get to the cup final, I think is going to be very difficult for any Ensley League side.
That said, the former Southampton midfielder would enjoy nothing more than ending his old club's FA Cup run at the county ground tomorrow, admitting that although it had its moments, his spell at the Dell wasn't the happiest time of his career.
I want to do well against a side that lets me go. I don't feel I've got anything to prove, but I still want to do well and want Swindon to go through to the next round.
He's enjoying his football now, and the Swindon manager has nothing but respect for the 33-year-old who signed in October.
Oh, he's been magnificent, he really has. Not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. He's the perfect pro. If any young kids watch him in training, he's an example to everyone on how to play the game, really.
McMAHON, another midfield veteran of 3 FA Cup finals, believes their combined experience gives Swindon a fighting chance against the Premiership side.
We'll give him a good game, that's for sure. You know, we won't sit back. It's not in our nature to sit back and try and defend. We'll go out attacking, and we'll make sure that we give it a good shot.
But what about Matthew Le Tissier? What do they plan to do about him?
Nothing. Just leave Le Tissier. You know, you pick up Le Tissier, then you're changing your formation. As I said, you're changing it for one man, and you shouldn't really do that.
The youngest Wembley FA Cup finalist is now one of the oldest players in the team. He's been advising Swindon's youngsters ahead of their toughest cup tie yet and hasn't ruled out the possibility of adding a 4th FA Cup medal to his collection. Jackie Levy, Sky Sports, at Paul Allen's house in Essex.
Both Swindon and Southampton, it was the second cup match of the week. On paper, a tough tie for the Premiership side, away to the leaders of Division 2. Commentary here from Clive Tilsley.
Nobody leaves early today. Swindon Town reached the 5th round courtesy of a last-minute winner against Oldham here on Monday. Southampton, thanks to a last-minute goal line clearance at Crewe on Tuesday. The road to Wembley gets very narrow in parts. Swindon's Paul Allen has got all the way down it on 3 occasions. A cup winner as both a West Ham and a Tottenham player. He started this season as a Southampton player. Allen plays at right back in a 5-man Swindon defence, anchored by Ian Culverhouse. Player-manager Steve McMahon is ruled out by a hamstring injury, so number 8, Martin Ling, who came on to score that late goal against Oldham, is in from the start today. So is Southampton's Francis Benali, called in because Mark Walters has failed a fitness test. Captain Barry Venison is still injured too. Keeper Dave Besant was the Wimbledon captain who lifted the cup in 1988, and amongst those looking on from the beaten Liverpool team that day, Steve McMahon. Robbie Hart, who has this week chosen to referee this season's Coca-Cola Cup final, is in charge today. Southampton find Swindon in their very best run of a very good season. 6 wins in 7 games so far this year. Their home record is good, their defensive record at home particularly good, and they fervently believe they can win this tie. Barry Venison all wrapped up. Moved to Southampton has cramped his style a little bit because they wear club blazers on match days. He can't wear those garish jackets he usually treats us to. Charlton. Letitia. Magilton. Well, that's an ambitious pass. If he's got a bit of backspin on it, it's perfect for Dodd. Gooden across there, and Dodd has won a corner. Liked the pass from Magilton, didn't he? Didn't clear the first defender, who was Bodin. Charlton again. Got past Robinson. Watson with the overhead. Not too far away. Robinson's error exposed Fraser Digby. And Gordon Watson whipped it over his shoulder, but over the crossbar too. Southampton are having a good spell now. Benali. Widrington. Magilton. Watson. Letitia. Oh, where did he come from? Widrington. Well, they were opening doors all over the place there. Swindon Town just couldn't work out where the next pass was going. Letitia with the final ball into Tommy Widrington, who'd come from deep and whose shot was straight at Fraser Digby. Deserved better. That's a better ball from Hall into the path on Letitia. Popping up on the left. Watson threw himself at it. Taylor and then Robinson smuggling it away. Dodd. Shipley. Magilton. Watson. Jason Dodd again. Jim Magilton again. Gordon Watson's touch. This is Neil Shipley. It's awkward, but Simon Charlton couldn't quite reach it. Kept in by Letitia. Charlton's there again, so is Watson, but so too is Sean Taylor, the Swindon captain. It's a close run thing for a moment. Bit gridlocked in midfield. Here's Allison stretching his legs against Moncard and winning a corner. A more direct approach, reaping some dividends. Sean Taylor, the skipper, just coming into the picture there. Robinson is up from the back too. This is Ling to Allen. And now Bodin. And there's Allison. Oh, and Besson was a little fortunate there. It fell for Magilton. It could have come to anybody. Culverhouse. Allen. First real alarm for Southampton. Allen keeping the pressure on. Thorne's in there. Important header away by Francis Benali. Magilton finding Shipley. Given away though. Martin Ling. Paul Allen. Mark Robinson. And that'll just run out of play beyond Peter Thorne. Dave Besson launched himself at that to keep out Allison's header. It could easily have come for Horlock, couldn't it? I don't think anybody can hear what she's shouting. Thorne. Allen. Horlock's on his way. This is Thorne. Now Horlock. Real sign of goal for Kevin Horlock. He scored. The second division leaders are in the lead. Kevin Horlock, the goal scorer. And a credit to the kind of football that Steve McMahon's team have tried to play today. They passed their way through a Premiership defence. Thorne with the final pass for Horlock, who is naturally left-footed, but who waited his moment and lifted it calmly over Besson with his right foot. Horlock goes into double figures for the season. And Swindon Town into the lead. Charlton. The surround, and then Watson though. Here's Letitia, or it would have been, but for Gooden. Robinson as far as Benali. Now Widrington. Now Dodd. Blocked by Bodin. Magilton. Dodd. Letitia, beautiful. In towards Watson. Goal kick given. Marvellous control there. Completely wrong-footed Ty Gooden. And created the opportunity for an early cross. Not much getting past Fraser Digby these days, though. In his last 9 games, he's kept 7 clean sheets. And that's the problem Southampton have got now. Breaking Swindon down. Gooden. Out of play. Magilton. Benali. Magilton thought about having a go. This is Dodd. In goes Charlton. It was a good challenge, though, from Ian Culverhouse. Charlton did well to reach it first, but he was under challenge when he headed the ball. Well, Swindon Town have successfully bridged the gap so far. It's about as much as Southampton have been able to manage in this first period. Digby hasn't really been stretched. Kevin Horlock, one of the players who was in the Swindon side in the Premiership a couple of seasons back, scored the goal which has put another Premiership side in danger at half-time. The new-look FA Cup draw may not be everyone's cup of tea, but Swindon Town have no complaints so far this season. 5 home draws in a row, 4 wins so far, no replays necessary, and only 1 goal conceded. Blackburn Rovers in the League Cup are the only team to have scored more than 1 goal on this ground so far this season. Matt Letitia didn't quite get hold of it. It was on target. Swindon Town certainly wouldn't care to allow him that kind of chance again between now and the end of the game. Look at him drifting between defenders. Bodin gave him that yard. Dave Merrington sitting alongside Laurie McMahon. Here goes Allison. Thorne and Linger in support. Cut out by Widrington. This is Charlton. Shipley pulling into a good position. It's a good cross too to Simon Charlton. Well, he did the correct thing. He headed it down into the ground. But it bounced up and over the crossbar. Excellent centre-forward play again by Neil Shipley. Good support from midfield by Simon Charlton. Got there first. Horlock won it for Thorne. This is Gooden. Well, it's neither one thing nor the other, really. Allison was up in support, hoping for a cross. Gooden was hoping for a blazing shot into the far corner. Neither occurred. Hall's header conceding the throw. Swindon certainly won't want to take any chances. They were 2 up here against Blackburn in that League Cup tie earlier in the season and were beaten 3-2. Drysdale's cross. Thorne's there! Well, he looks inquiringly in the direction of the linesman. He felt he got a little nudge on the way. If anything, he just seemed to run past the curling cross. Maybe he felt that he was pushed past the cross. Jason Dodd. He's hit another one, and that's just wide. Tuesday night, Gresty Road crew, same position. It flew in from the left foot of Jason Dodd. Saturday afternoon, county ground Swindon, just missed the post. And that may be the difference between winning and losing a cup tie. Watson. Letitia. He's found Maskell, and he's found Widrington. Away by Digby, Shipley, Digby again. Standing ovation for the Swindon goalkeeper. It's his 10th season with the club, his testimonial season. And having pushed the ball sufficiently wide to give Shipley a little angle, he managed to shore up his near post area. He would take a lot of pleasing, I would think, as a manager. Hall not happy. Free kick has been given. Little over a quarter of an hour left to play. Kevin Horlock with a free kick. Here comes Taylor. Hall's header. Actually back across the face of goal, but smuggled away by Shipley initially. Now Thorne, and now Allison! He won't need telling what a chance that was to kill off the game. Thorne got the touch on, and suddenly the chance was there for Allison. It did sort of bounce up to thigh height, and he couldn't keep it down. Magilton. Letitia, Widrington, Letitia, Shipley, Letitia, great challenging. Charlton blasted back in there, but somehow Swindon Town just threw a red blanket to smother that Southampton attack. An attack of several dangerous moments, but always a defender hurting himself in the way. Watson's there, it's in! Gordon Watson has equalised for Southampton with 14 minutes to spare. To the goal scorer, the glory, but what a corner by the man in the foreground, Matthew Letitia. Hit with pace and swing. It just needed a touch to help it on its way, and Watson provided that touch. By Hall. Shipley trying to make something of it. Culverhouse just hooks it out of harm's way, and wonders why Fraser Digby didn't come to get it in the first place. Right at the business end of the match now, last 8 minutes. Letitia to Dodd. Digby punching, didn't really have to. Widrington will catch that all right. Robinson. This is Finney. Moncau back there. Given straight to Robinson. Held up by Charlton. Free kick given. Southampton have only suffered one defeat in their last 10 games. They've become a stubborn old side in recent weeks. Swindon have similar figures, one defeat in their last 12. And neither side could quite crack the combination today. We'll do it all again at the Dell on Wednesday week. For a long time it looked like Kevin Horlock's goal might be enough for Swindon, but inside the last quarter of an hour, Gordon Watson equalised. Southampton haven't lost at the Dell for 3 months now. They'll start favourites on the 28th. Swindon's cup run moves out of town for the first time, but such is the second division leaders' confidence level, they will still fancy their chances. They had a big chance today and couldn't quite take it. It finished 1-1.
Our players are very disappointed because we don't think we played particularly well today. We battled. I mean, we done what we know we can do, but I think we paid them a bit too much respect early on, especially.
I think one of the important things that when you're working with a team is to try and get them to keep their composure. It's so easy to get frustrated when you've worked so hard and everything's going your way, but you can't score. And I thought they kept their nerve, they kept playing football, and eventually got their rewards.
At what stage of a match like that does it start to go through your mind, but maybe this is going to get away from you?
Probably about 5 minutes before we actually scored, when Simon Charlton hit it over the bar from like 5 or 6 yards out. So we started thinking, well, just got to keep going, and hopefully it'll go in.
I sense a confidence about this place, whereby you won't be daunted by the possibility of playing at the Dell now.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's not that long ago that this club was in the Premiership. The players are geared up for that. I mean, our main priority is to get out of this division, and it's a great tester for us to play against a side like Southampton.
I didn't see that gulf between the second and the first and the Premier, and hopefully we can bridge that gap even more to come the end of the season. But yeah, they're great games to play, aren't they? And it gives our lads a taster of what they could be doing. And so early quarter-finals. Well, it's not over yet, and that's what I'm saying to them. Go and enjoy yourselves again at Southampton.
Now, Gary, let's have your thoughts on that match.
Well, I don't think it was a great game. I thought Southampton played reasonably well and stuck at it. Swindon, I thought Steve McMahon got it right. They battled, they worked tremendously hard for each other, defended very well. But one thing they did do was score a terrific goal. And it was probably the best move of the whole game. And it starts here with Wayne Allison in possession, who knocks it in actually to Kevin Horlock, who's the eventual goal scorer. He continues his run forward and the ball's knocked around between Paul Allen and Peter Thorne. Keeps going, Benali stops, doesn't go with him, gives him the opportunity, and he stays calm. Dave Besant went down a little bit early and Horlock stuck it in well. Now in that situation you expect Le Tissier circled there to be the man to get Southampton back in the game. And he did show one or two really good flicks and created a few things, but by and large Swindon played him very well. They got tight to him, they got bodies close to him, and he lacks a little bit of pace. So if you can get people around him and digging in and tackling like that, then you're going to cause him problems. Here he's circled again, the ball gets played out wide by Magilton into a wide position, but just watch Le Tissier's movement in the middle. He's strolling, he's walking. It doesn't look like he's desperately interested in the game, but that's him. He knows also, and he also proves that you can find space by not moving too much. But when he does eventually pick it up again, 3 of them in there, battling and just denying him space. 3 Swindon players within a yard of him. And that's how it was for him all afternoon, but you can't mark him at corners. Terrific ball in, and Watson leapt superbly, and there's the evidence that they actually hit the stanchion. But they kept at it, Southampton. I think they certainly deserve something out of the game.
They'll now be favourites, of course.
Well, certainly back at the Dell. They're always difficult to beat there against second division opposition. I'll back them to go through.
Thank you.
After starting the move, Kevin Horlock finished it in style, and celebrations to match following his 10th goal of the season. But Swindon were pegged back 14 minutes from time, Gordon Watson converting Matt Le Tissier's corner to earn a replay at the Dell in 9 days' time.
In a fifth-round replay, but Swindon are confident they can still cause an upset. On Saturday, Swindon emerged for their second cup tie in less than a week. Paul Allen, twice in a cup-winning side, was delighted to be facing his old club. Player-manager Steve McMahon forced through injury to watch from the sidelines, and he saw his side struggle to contain Southampton early on. Neil Shipley's cross just inches away from Simon Charlton. But Swindon eventually regrouped, forcing a save from Dave Besant before Kevin Horlock started and finished the best move of the game to give Swindon the lead on the half hour.
Thorne. Allen. Horlock's on his way. This is Thorne. Now Horlock. Real sign of goal for Kevin Horlock. He scored.
Horlock outpaces the defence and chooses his spot well.
Kevin Horlock, the goal scorer.
Swindon maintain their lead thanks to goalkeeper Fraser Digby, twice saving well early in the second half. But he couldn't stop Matthew Le Tissier's corner, headed on by Gordon Watson.
It's in. Gordon Watson has equalised for Southampton with 14 minutes to spare.
Our players are very disappointed because we don't think we played particularly well today. We battled. I mean, we done what we know we can do, but I think we paid them a bit too much respect early on, especially.